All right, today we are diving deep into the very foundation of life. I mean, did you know that every single living thing on this planet, from the tiniest germ to the biggest whale, is built from one of just two basic blueprints? Well, that's what we're going to break down right now. So let's just start with a big question. I want you to picture the simplest life form you can think of, like a single bacterium. Now picture yourself. What do you think is the biggest, most fundamental difference between the two of you? It's not about your size or what you eat or even where you live. The real core difference is in the tiny microscopic engines that you're both made of. It all comes down to the cell. Okay, so first up, let's meet the original model. This is the minimalist masterpiece of life, the prokaryote. You can think of this as life's super efficient, one-room studio apartment. Here's the most important thing you need to know about it. A prokaryotic cell is small, it's simple, and this is the big one. It does not have a nucleus. Its command center isn't walled off from everything else. And this list really lays out that simplicity perfectly. With no nucleus, its DNA just kind of floats around freely inside, usually in a simple loop. It has the absolute basics, right? Cytoplasm, a cell membrane, a cell wall. But notice what's missing. There are no smaller membrane-bound compartments, or organelles, to handle all the different jobs. This means they are always single-celled organisms. And the classic example, of course, is bacteria. All right, now let's check out the other blueprint. And if the prokaryote is a studio apartment, then the eukaryote, well, it's a sprawling mansion with specialized rooms for absolutely everything. So the contrast here is immediate. Eukaryotic cells are bigger, they're way more complex, and they have that all-important feature, a nucleus. You can think of it like a vault, a safe that protects the cell's precious genetic information. The key thing to get here is the organization. It doesn't just have a nucleus, it also has a ton of different membrane-bound organelles. Tiny little organs inside the cell, each with its own special job. This complexity allows them to not only exist as single cells, but to team up and form massive multi-celled organisms. And that includes basically everything you can see around you, plants, animals, all of it. Okay, so we've met the two main players in the game of life. Now, let's put them side by side. It's going to make the differences impossible to miss. Look, if you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. For eukaryotes, the DNA is safely tucked away inside a nucleus. For prokaryotes, it's just out in the open, floating around in the cytoplasm. This one single design choice is the key to everything else. And this table here really tells the whole story, doesn't it? When we talk about size, it's small versus big. Complexity, simple versus complex. A nucleus and all those little organelles, absent versus present. And all of that leads to what kind of organism they can build. Prokaryotes are strictly single-celled, while eukaryotes, well, they can build both single-celled life and huge multicellular organisms, like us. So why does any of this microscopic stuff matter? Well, because it defines the entire world around us, and yeah, the world inside of us too. Now, don't go underestimating that simple design. That strips-down, super efficient prokaryotic model has been unbelievably successful. Their simplicity is actually their superpower. It lets them reproduce incredibly fast and adapt to pretty much any environment, which is why they outnumber every other kind of life on the planet. By a lot. But when you look around at the world that you recognize, the trees in the park, your dog, the fish in the ocean, and yep, even the face you see in the mirror, what you are seeing is the power of that eukaryotic blueprint. We are all just walking, talking, thinking collections of trillions of these complex, highly organized cells, all working together in perfect sync. Pretty amazing, right? And that leaves us with this really fascinating final thought. It's easy for us, these big, complex creatures, to see ourselves as the pinnacle of life. But that simple, ancient prokaryote, it absolutely dominates the planet in sheer numbers because of its speed and its adaptability. So what does that really tell us about what it means to be successful in the story of life? Kind of makes you think, doesn't it?